Hey, can I get a smile, Mark, please? Thanks. Predator, hey, give me a smile. Chris, can I get a smile? Brian, can I get a smile, please?
Ben, get one more.
You want a cold one? Felton Davis is on the far right. Obviously, Coach Mark Dantonio.
That mic's not working. Just
Chris Fry, Brian DeWorky. We're going to have Coach Dantonio make an opening statement, then we'll have questions for the players.
slide down. Easy adjustment.
Thank you, Chris.
Just want to congratulate our football team and our coaching staff on this win, program win in every respect. Especially the fact that it signified our 10th win this season, which is what we came out here to do. And we came out here sort of on a mission, and our players did an outstanding job, I thought, in the San Diego community. Bed check, all the different things you have to do at a bowl game, and they kept their focus in meetings, and they kept their focus in practices. We've had great practices when we've been out here, and I think it showed up tonight. But we're stockpiling. But if you look at the football game, I thought that we played very well defensively, really throughout, with the exception probably of one or two drives, but played very well against a good offense, very well-conceived offense, good conceptually. And we tackled well. We tackled well in space, came up with a couple turnovers. Offensively, we got on the board, and we ran the ball effectively and had big plays in the passing game. And I said in the football game, because of their pressure, that our quarterback was going to have to create, and that's what he did. He created with his feet and then with his arm as well, and big things happened. I thought we played very solidly on special teams and come away with a convincing win. So very, very excited about it.
Mark, prior to the season, ironically, you said that you wanted your team to learn from last year's struggle about life more even than football. 10 wins, only the eighth time it's happened in Michigan State history. Can you talk about what this win means more than football for these young men in this program?
Sure, I said it out there on the awards at the awards ceremony. I think one of the biggest things you learn as a young person or as a coach or as anybody, is the ability to get up after you've been knocked down. Whether you're in a corporation or whether you're in a sport or whether you're a coach, the ability to stand up and continue to persevere when things don't look so well for you. And our football team did that. We came in with the mindset this year. We came in with the goals, and even last year I didn't feel like anybody. I didn't go into a game saying we can't win this football game. And basically, when you look at it last year, you blink, and that's all we did last year. We blinked, because if you look at the culture of this football team, 100 wins in 11 years. You do the math. That's 9 wins a year. On average.
It's called great coaching.
It's called great players. We've had great players, and we continue to have them. And I'm blessed to be here as a head football coach. I've always felt like that from day one, and I still feel like that now, even more so.
Mark, got a question for you about one of your favorite topics, social media. Almost a year ago to the day, you tweeted, 1 year ago today, the Spartans stood on the big stage in college football. We will rise up again. Put your name on it. Hashtag 2017 Spartans. What does it mean to you to come through with that guarantee?
Well, I really can't remember tweeting that out, but I did feel like that. I did feel like we'd rise up. I knew that when we walked back in that building after last year's 12th game, that we would start back, and that the road back wouldn't be easy, but there was a road back. And I believed in that because of our seniors, because of some of our younger players that were coming, and because of our coaching staff. And I can't say enough about our coaching staff. Our coaching staff, we have great coaches, but we have better people. They're great people. And they believe in their players, and it goes back and forth. There's just a good feeling there between our players and our coaches, and I think you win with that.
Mark, the game plan with Brian today, especially getting him out and running a little bit more, was that on the fly, or was that the way to go that you guys saw something against that defense?
Well, I think we knew that we had to take advantage of everything. It's a bowl game. We had prepared for everything, and he's a naturally gifted runner. I I said a long time ago, his dad told me when we recruited him that, you know, he's a lot faster than you think he is. And I would agree with that. Okay, but, you know, that's the way he can create, you know. He can create, he can make plays with his feet and get out of trouble, and a couple times he did that tonight, and I really think that's what sort of got us going. And then Big Felton had some huge catches out there as well, huge catches, and great throws. But I'll let these guys answer some questions. I'll come back to you.
Brian, starting with you, you took that big hit at the goal line, you went back down a second time, you come out of the game, Damian scores the touchdown, you come back in. Take us through that hit, what you felt, and how you knew you were ready to come back.
Well, first of all, I think it was an awesome moment for Damian to be able to go in and score a touchdown in his last game. I'm very happy for him. That's awesome. Me and him are super tight, so I'm so glad he was able to do that. But yeah, I took a pretty big hit to the head, and it was more my knee that when I was hobbling around was what made me lay down. And you know, they looked at it, they looked at my head, my knee, said I was fine, so I was able to go back out there and finish the game.
This one's for you, Coach. Just looking at the turnaround that you guys were able to complete this season, and then kind of the exclamation point today, what does it say about the character of this team?
Well, like I said earlier, you know, it speaks volumes about our character as not just the football team, but as individuals. And it's a great example. What I said earlier is a great example that you put your mind to something, you can overcome problems, you can get past problems, and you can redirect the course of what you're trying to do. But you got to have a plan. You got to have a belief in that plan. You got to have people that will follow that plan. And you know, that's what we have. We have those type of individuals here. We've always had good chemistry here. Last year was a little bit of a, you know, anomaly, I would say. You know, we were winning every one of those football games. We were winning. So I'd like to say we're back, but 2018 is around the corner, so you really can't say that because you've got to start proving yourself all over again. But this was his great football season that I have had as a coach because of where we came from and what we were able to accomplish.
If we can have questions for the student athletes, and then we'll go back to Coach D once those are finished up. Thank you. So we can get the players out.
We got to have Felton's a great person to interview. So.
This is for Chris. A lot of talk about their air raid offense and all that, and you guys put 35 up on the board while they're still sitting at 3. What can you say for yourselves defensively and the effort you had? I know they were without Luke Falk, but just overall the effort you guys put together.
Yeah, even without Luke Falk, they're still a great team. They got a very good quarterback that has some playing experience, but you know, I think it just shows, you know, how much we studied film in the few weeks that we had to get ready for this team. We used that extra time to try and master what they do and figure out tips and alerts that we can key on for you know, specific plays. But you know, our offense came out ready to play and put points up on the board, and the defense tackled well and executed our game plan very well.
JD Patel with Coming for Herb Street's job. Brian, you hear the cliche all the time, the bowl game is the first game of next season. So what does a win like this mean for next year's team?
It's big. We can kind of build off the momentum that this game brings us, and you know, with a lot of young guys, we still have a lot of work to be done and a lot of potential to be reached. So I think it's very big for us.
Chris, I want to go back to this summer when you got pretty emotional talking to me about last season, and you said to me, as a senior, you wanted to restore this program for Coach. You told me a couple weeks ago, this isn't really about me as a senior, this is about Coach. And you talked about what it would mean to you to give him this game. Now you did it. Will you talk about what Coach Mark Dantonio means to you personally as a man?
Yeah, you know, coming out of last season, you know, everybody doubted Coach, and we stuck with him. We knew, you know, one season like that isn't going to, you know, change what he does and, you know, the way that he treats this team. For us to be able to come out this year and, you know, get the program back to where we believe it should be is, you know, huge for this program moving forward, but even bigger for him. You know, leaving this place, I want to see Coach D here, and I'm just really excited to be a part of a team that that allowed us to come back and have a great season and get Coach D his 100th win.
For any of the guys, how good does it feel from your perspective to maybe see some of that doubt and shut it down and maybe restore some faith in the program?
Phil?
Yeah, Phil, you got it?
Make me paying attention.
I mean, it's big, you know, for us to, you know, silence the doubt, you know, silence the critics, you know, and we've been through a lot, you know, from whatever the last game was last year, you know, in December. So we've been through a lot through that all the way to now, you know, and it speaks volumes, like Coach D said, for our coaches and what Coach D and Coach Manny and put us through and help build men, you know, and I mean, basically, you know, it's just put us through the fire, and we survived. So we're here now with 10 wins.
Felton, reports out there that L.J. Scott told you a while ago he was coming back. And what did he tell you, and when did you know?
L.J. told me, I think it was after the Minnesota game, you know, but I already knew he was coming back anyway, you know, because Michigan State's a great place, you know, and people say that a lot about, you know, schools, basically college, but Michigan State's a great place, you know, and I knew he loved everybody that's here, you know, and he had unfinished business, not let alone his individual stats, but team goals, you know, we had a lot of unfinished business to take care of, and so I already knew he was going to come back, but he told me Minnesota game.
Brian, I wanted to ask you, you seem to be in a rhythm there, 10 for 11 at the end of the first half, maybe that you hadn't even been in before, even the deep passes. Did it feel like that out there, that you guys have found something, a different level of comfort in that first long touchdown pass? So how careful are you not to overthrow it?
Very careful. I saw how wide open he was. I just tried throwing it right at him, make sure it didn't. I mean, I knew if he had to stop and catch it, he would have scored anyway. But you know, we kind of started off slow in the pass game. Started off 0 for 5 or something, but we were able to kind of pick it up a little bit in the second quarter and just start executing. I was able to kind of set my feet and make my reads a little better. Just, you know, settling into the game as it went on.
Felton, on the touchdown catch there, when you get that open, you find yourself thinking about it at all? Do you have to kind of like stop yourself so you don't end up on the wrong end of a highlight reel?
When Brian, like throughout the whole play, you know, I'm running the post or whatever, and I see the corner and the safety both run toward Cody, and I actually thought Brian threw the ball to Cody. But when I looked, I realized he didn't throw the ball yet, you know, so when he let it, the first thing that went through my head was just don't drop it. You know, so that's the first thing that went through my head, and you know, I made the catch and scored. So.
And then with the 16 goals as far as LJ coming back in 2018, can you specify what some of those might be?
You know, we take ours like one step at a time. So the first one we win the East, you know, and then after we win the East, we win the Big Ten championship, then put ourselves in position to win a national championship.
Chris, Jim Comporti, SpartanMag.com. You know, football teams take the spring to get better and preseason practice to improve, but bowl practice is also a time to improve. Did you see this team improve during bowl practice, Brian? And the defense looked like, would you agree that you guys hit harder than any time all year?
I honestly, we had 2 fundamental practices at the beginning of bowl practice, and basically that was just going back to the basics. Going through, relearning how to tackle, you know, going through our basic coverages, just trying to master everything that we do, because when we do what we need to do, we win games. And you know, it's not about what they do, it's about what we do, and that's what we focused on. We focused on being perfect in what we do. And I think that showed tonight in the game, because when we were on, they weren't getting the new yards. They weren't completing passes.
You seemed pretty emotional when you took that trophy tonight. It's your last game in this jersey. What did that feel like? And secondly, you won't be in uniform next year. What could this team be next year, in your opinion?
Yeah, it's an honor. I remember my freshman year, actually, we beat Baylor, but we were losing, I think, like 20 points in the fourth quarter, and they gave the MVP trophies to the other team because they thought they were going to win. And, you know, it's always been a dream of mine to be able to, you know, come to a bowl game and win the MVP. And, you know, it was a blessing. You know, I couldn't have done it without the guys that are up here, the guys that are in the locker room. You know, I told Joe Bocci tonight, you know, I couldn't have done it without him. I've learned a lot from him. He's pushed me to be a better player, a better person, and you know, it's been an honor playing with all of these guys. I got back to the locker room, and I was talking to Shane Jones, and I don't want to take this jersey off. Like, I'm going to take as much time as I can there in my jersey, and I don't want to take this off. But you know, the future's bright for this team. I'm really excited to continue watching this team grow because we have so many young guys that have the ability to be great. And with the work ethic that I know they have, that they showed this offseason and throughout this season, the sky is the limit for this team and everybody on it.
Chris, kind of along those lines, you had, I think, 10 guys with 3 or more tackles, and nobody with more than 3. I guess, first of all, what was that plan to tackle in space? It seemed like you guys were swarming, and what were the differences between those two quarterbacks, the guy that you didn't see and the guy you did see?
Well, we knew that Luke Falk wasn't going to run the ball. He's not a runner. And we knew that the guy that came in was a little bit more of a runner. He could break the pocket and run and create a little bit more space for him to hit that check down. And we knew coming into this game that they threw the check down, 10 times a game, around 10 times a game. And we knew that we were going to have to tackle in space, and that's something that we worked on throughout bowl practice and allowed us to get better at that particular thing.
Right, it might be hard to recall, but you guys were down 3-0 at the end of the first quarter, and it seemed like something clicked. What turned for you? Was it rust that you had to kind of wear off? How would you describe how you felt in the first quarter, and then what happened from there?
Yeah, it might have been rust. It might have been just not playing for a month. But I think the biggest thing is just we adjusted, our play calls to what they were giving us. Started running the ball better. Started passing the ball better. Just overall, I mean, I felt like everything started clicking just because we got a little more comfortable with ourselves and what was being called out there.
All right, that's it for the student athletes, and then you have a couple more questions for Coach.
Mark, college football is extremely competitive, and their quarterback just admitted that you guys dominated them. To hear an opponent say it, I think, is very honest to hear him say it, but that's pretty strong words. Do you agree with that?
Oh, I don't know about dominant. That was a good football game. It was back and forth. We just sort of stretched out there in the second half. But we were ready to play. We were fresh. We were ready to play. The players, as I said, came here with a. It wasn't good enough to win 9 games. We needed to win 10. They came here with a mindset, and I think sometimes you got to go with that mindset. We needed to have a great bowl game. We could not afford to have problems off the field. We needed to play well in the bowl game. This was a national stage. Holiday Bowl is an outstanding bowl. It was a top 20 game. This catapulted us maybe up the rankings at least a little bit further. So we're probably a top 15 team or a little bit better, after the year last year. So we're sort of back to where we had been, and I think we sort of reaffirmed our stature a little bit in college football. And this has been a good football team, and it should continue to be a good football team. We've got good players, and we're young. And we have great leadership from our seniors. There are only really 4 seniors that played a ton, but the rest of them led in their own ways, in their own areas. And because of that, I think, good things follow.
Mark, LJ said after the game that he plans on coming back this year. Did you know going in before tonight that was his intent? And what does that mean for you guys as a program moving forward to bring him back as a 4th-year player?
Well, that's good for me to hear, certainly. We had talked, we did have a talk, and that was his intentions. But, that was not for me to say, or for me to say to anybody else. So I just sort of kept it quiet and let him go through it, I think as important as anything, L.J. Scott had a 3.5 grade point average this semester, and I think everybody should know that. That he's on track to get his degree. That leaving early, would sort of put that on hold a little bit longer. I think he can be a tremendous tailback. I think he can be a guy that we can hand the ball to him, 250 times and do great things. And, much like when Shalik Calhoun and Connor Cook made a decision to come back their senior year, they followed with a ring, a Big Ten championship ring, and I think those things become possible. We have an established tailback coming back, and he's a special player.
Mark,
yes.
You see Chris mentioned not wanting to take that jersey off after the game. How fulfilling is it to see someone like him go through the entire recruiting process 5-6 years ago, and then make it to this stage and have the game he did, have his career he did here?
Were you talking about Chris?
Chris or any of the seniors you've had through the program?
It starts to become very real. I mentioned that at the press conference. I don't know if anybody heard it, but I mentioned that at the press conference. Okay. It's tough to take your jersey off for the last time. I still remember when I took my jersey off. A long time ago. When your last game at that particular college, there's a lot of brotherhood and love that is tied up in you and your football team. And to take the jersey off sort of signifies that that's it. You know, you have an opportunity to play professional football, that's great, or you go on with your life, that's great too. But you're going to miss something because, you know, between 18 and 22 years old, you've been with these people. And they're more than just people that you work with, they're people that you live with and you know, everything. So it's tough. I feel for them, and we've talked about that. And that's one of the things that makes playing here at Michigan State so special, that they do feel like that.
Coach, you're in front. You mentioned this season might be your most satisfying as a head coach. The month of preparation and build up to this bowl game, you come off at 3-9, you have a younger team. How does it compare in the preparation that you had for the Rose Bowl victory over Stanford and the Cotton Bowl victory over Baylor? How would you compare and contrast this month?
Well, you know, this season meant so much because of where we came from, because of the youth of our football team, and maybe the doubt from the outsiders along the way. We've had some big games. You know, I think we had one game that we'd like to have back and try and, you know, that we got beat badly. The rest of them, I thought we were pretty much in it. But how's it compare? I don't know. It just seems because we had to start last year, you know, coming off the 2012 season, we were 7-6, had a bowl victory, and then we went to the Rose Bowl. Coming off the Rose Bowl year, went to the Cotton Bowl, and I think that we left a little on the table that year. So, and we won, beat Baylor, but we ended up 10-2, and we didn't win the championship. So, you know, our goals were high. Our goals still remain high. Our goal was to win the championship this year, and going into November, we were in control of our own destiny. It didn't happen, but we made it to November with the opportunity to win the championship. So there's a lot in this team, and we talk about that, and we talk a lot about different things in terms of succeeding at the highest level. And that's what makes it special, I think, this year is the people. It's always about the people. Bo Finoti was here as an honorary captain. You know, seeing him brought back a lot of memories. But this is this year's team, and it's just special. I don't know how I can. You know, you've been around Chris Fry for 4 years, and these guys, some of these other guys for 4 years, 5 years, and you see them be able to flip a switch and turn a tide and bounce back from a tough situation, and it's very gratifying to see people do that.
Last question in the back.
Coach, looking at what you do have to build off of and the talent that you have and the returning youth, are you excited for what's to come with this program?
Yeah, I am very excited. You know, I think we have a good football team coming back. I think we have an outstanding recruiting class coming. I may add a couple there, but I think we'll have some guys that can help in that area on this football team. But I think we're hungry. I think we're a humble group that will work hard, believe in each other. Belief is such a big part of it. We have confidence in each other. We'll play hard and we'll play tough. And I thought there was great, you know, if you look at that football game, we won the football game because we won the football game physically. I mean, that's really the reality of it. You know, we shut down their run after catch by tackling very well. We didn't get the sacks we wanted, but we flushed the quarterback enough times. We stopped the run. And on the offensive side of the ball, we ran the ball well enough to control the line of scrimmage. And I don't know if they had a sack, maybe it was one, but we threw the ball down the field pretty effectively as well. I was, much like Brian said, I was so happy for Damian Terry going in there, and he looked good. He looked good. And it's good to see him have his last game and have that feeling going out.
Thanks,
Go guys. Thanks.